So here we are out in the wild with the Nukeproof Kilowatt. Already got a few laps on this, been really impressed with it so far. Keen to be able to take it out on some slightly steeper and gnarlier terrain, really push this trail bike through its limits. You can see on the front we've got the Fox 36 on there. This is the performance spec. This beautiful carbon finish. It's just a pure carbon finish on the frame with those silver decals. Looks absolutely, well, I think it looks absolutely killer in the flesh. So hopefully this is one of the colorways that they bring out. The Fox rear shock there, giving the 150mm of travel on the rear. You can see from the shape, this is really built off that Nukeproof reactor, which is an absolute ripper of a trail bike. So you can imagine how this rides. Obviously at the heart of it, you can see the Avinox M2S motor system, 800-watt internal battery. So let's go get some more laps in. Here we go. So I thought I'd talk a little bit more about the bike as I pedal back up the hill, as I could catch my breath a little bit. I've said before, there's not too much more to say about the Avinox M2S motor system. It's fast becoming a rider's favourite in terms of the amount of power that it gives, the range that you're getting off these bikes. It's a super quiet system. It's really easy to live with. A lot of fun to ride, you know. Really at the moment it's just, you know, your choices are Bosch or Avinox, and that's pretty much it. But anyway, bike. Obviously, as I said, mentioned, it's designed around that kind of reactor platform, and anyone that's ridden a reactor knows that it's firmly in the kind of rip it up trail category, as in descending, versus kind of like being a, you know, super fast climber or super efficient, etc. And that really translates through onto this Kilowatt. It's very similar. You think from the numbers it'll be firmly in that trail bike category, but if we were comparing it with, you know, I suppose our two other 150, 160 travel machines, the Amflow and the Pivot Amped, this is far more Pivot Amped territory in terms of the way that it rides. It's a bike that's basically screaming at you a little bit to be able to get off the brakes, kind of push it a bit harder into the corner, etc. Really a little bit of a hooligan. And it's really nice to see Nukeproof back in the game, because for those of you who don't know, when we first opened the shop back in 2020 in Monmouth, Nukeproof were one of the first brands that we had in the shop. And they've always designed bikes for riders, and I mean that in terms of, you know, they had obviously the race team and Sam Hill and all those kind of guys kind of ripping it up on the World Enduro Series, but yeah, kind of a real kind of riders brand. They get the type of riding that we do here in the UK in terms of kind of this kind of pedal up and then wanting to have loads of fun on the trails on the way back down. And this Kilowatt is definitely in that kind of category, and kind of I suppose links with that DNA. You'll be able to tell from just the way I'm getting on to this bike straight away. It's definitely really playful. Loves to just change direction. Very poppy and fun to ride. Really engaging. It's one of those bikes that's just putting a smile on your face straight from the off. Whoa! As I was alluding to, Nukeproof have always made a killer bike, so it's quite apt that this one is called the Kilowatt. initially I was a little bit concerned, maybe the 36 fork may be a little bit biked, I guess, on this, but they want the weight to be really competitive as well. I think the weight of this, if you go check out Muldoon's video over at MBR, he had it on the scales. It was this exact bike. It was 22.8 kilograms, which is really competitive for an 800 watt bike. When you think, for example, that new car Evo is coming in at 24.8 kilograms. Now I know that's a heavier spec. You know, you're looking at a enduro spec on that, but you know, this is coming in a good 2 kilos lighter because of some of those more trail orientated choices, like the fork that saves a little bit of weight. It doesn't take away from the great angles on this bike. Now, I haven't seen the spec sheets, but I can tell you from rider feel that the reach on this is probably between about 475 and 480. I've just ridden enough of those to know what feels comfortable, and this is just a really comfortable fit for me at 5'11". And that head angle is under 64 degrees. And again, you can just feel that in the way that it encourages you to let go on the steeper stuff. Fun. That's the best way to describe this bike. Fun. It just is a proper little trail hooligan, and it's probably, you know, bang on the numbers for that UK style of riding. 150, 160 is that kind of real sweet spot. You know, all these kind of trails in the Forest of Dean, it's lapping up. We're not quite hit full travel, despite being dry, dusty, and a few big compressions. So it kind of feels that I've got what, just under 290 psi in the shock, 98 kilos rider weight. Feels really nice. It's really kind of given in that first part of the travel, so you kind of get that small bump, kind of, or you don't feel that small bump chatter, and seems to be ramping up a little bit towards the end of the shock. So when you're going off a few of those jumps and stuff, and I case it like I just did, then you still got a little bit to play with to get you out of trouble. Anyway, go do a bit more descending, have a bit more fun on this. So hey! Oh, a bit too quick off there. Oh, the conditions are just so dry and dusty at the moment. Everything wants to slide on you. It's so much fun. Just not when you're slowing down, I guess. Oh, there you go. So these are some of the steepest tracks we have. It's around about an average gradient of 30 something percent, as you can see from the constant braking. And this is where that head angle of the bike really makes sense. It's, again, just encouraging me to go quicker, that I can slow down, which... there we go. Oh, as I was saying, the bike was encouraging me to go quicker than I can actually slow it down in these dry and dusty conditions. I just keep coming back to the same words. it's a hooligan of a trail bike. You know, if you are a pinner, you want a fun, relatively short travel, I guess, trail bike, then I'd definitely be getting excited about this bike when it launches towards the end of this year. And I suppose that's one thing I should have really mentioned while we're riding, which is this bike is due to land in the UK Q4 this year. So this is a pre-production model for the press to be able to ride. So as I said in the last bit, go and watch MBR's review of the bike. Those guys have spent quite a bit more time on it, and they're proper little bike experts. You know, we're just shall we say, avid enthusiasts, and we're just super grateful to Nukeproof that they've dropped this pre-production Killowatt in with us in our shop. So we're the first guys outside of the press and girls to be able to spend a little bit of time on it. Yeah, to say we're impressed with it is a bit of an understatement, because it really does, as you can see in that last descent, lap up that steeper descent in, flows really well on the more chill tracks. Weight 22.8 kilograms in size large with pedals, you know, very competitive, means it keeps that bike light, flickable. I think that's what you're really feeling, is that ability to be able to move the bike around. I definitely put this in that category with that shuttle amp. You know, they're both kind of like bikes for people who really like to let it off on the descents, but still have something that's quite engaging, quite fun, doesn't have too much kind of travel. The difference being, obviously, the price points of the Nukeproofs are going to be super competitive. So it's not all confirmed yet, because like I said, you know, they're finalising spec tunes and the like on the bike, but we are going to be seeing models coming in from under 6k, and they're going to be in that kind of white category of just super good value for money for what you actually kind of get in, compared to some of those more boutique brands where, you know, this and the pivot amp's really comparable, you know, 150, 160 bikes, but you know, there's going to be one coming in sub, you know, 6 grand, and the other one you're looking towards the 10 grand to get a really good spec model. So yeah, this is kind of coming in at a far more competitive price point, and that is the bit that I get super excited about, because it brings this kind of battery, this motor, but also these angles, this handling package to the masses. And I know 5-6k is still a hell of a lot to spend on a bike, but compared to where we were with some of the kind of more kind of boutique brands and their pricing, you know, the white with that car Vivo, and these guys are kind of bringing it right down in price point, and that's really cool to see. As you can tell, I am absolutely buzzing about this bike. I can't wait for you guys to be able to get up to ride it later in the year. We were really hoping to have them at FODFest this year with this bike. You'll definitely be able to see this bike at FODFest, but obviously it's a pre-production model, so production is slightly later in the year, so we'll arrange a demo day with the guys as soon as stock starts to land in the UK. But yeah, it is super fun to be able to ride, really engaging. Like I said, I'm not banging on too much about the components and bits and pieces on the bike, because we've still not seen the final specs, but if it's anything like this, it's going to be absolute killer. So ran out of battery on the riding to give us kind of like final thoughts on the bike. As you'll know from kind of listening to the video, absolutely love this bike. I've just got the geo sheets from Clive and Brendan at Nukeproof, and it does in fact have a 64-degree head angle and a 480-degree reach. So bang on kind of sizing you want for this kind of size large The other thing which is really interesting is it's got a 37-degree bottom bracket drop, which you can really feel when I was talking about how manoeuvrable the bike was, how easy it was to be able to corner. A lot of that is coming from the BB. I might want to run slightly shorter cranks to avoid the pedal strike, and I'd love to see one with a 160 Zeb on it and a Super Deluxe on the rear, because that would be like the dream spec. But as bikes go, I think if I was ranking the kind of trail bikes at the moment, so there's a lot of competition in that 150, 160 market. You've obviously got this, you've got the Pivot Amp, you've got the Santa Cruz Valor, you've got the Transition Regulator CX, you've got the Amflow, you've got the Norco Sight. But this would firmly be in my top three. I'd drop it in probably straight at number 2, just behind that Pivot Amp. And bear in mind that this bike is going to be available for less than 6k. Your Pivot Amp is starting up at kind of like 10k. It's a massive, massive difference. So yeah, this is going to be where the smart money is when the bike drops. As I said, it's Q4 this year, so it's going to be November, December time when we see stock of this bike coming into the UK. There'll be 3 different spec levels, which we'll be able to confirm shortly, and an alley version coming in as well, which is super, super exciting. So again, big up thanks to Nukeproof for landing this prototype. Loved riding it. We're going to get some more laps in over the weekend because I can't really get enough of this trail bike. It is that good.